Recording in progress. Money. All
Nice.
right. All right, everybody. Welcome to Maggot.
Mag,
Sport. The Maggot. I didn't even know this thing.
not the insect maggot.
Yeah, not like Megget from The Longest Yard, where Nelly was like the best running back to ever touch the fucking football field. Um, no, this is Mag It. All right. We're talking sports cards, upcoming prospects, or just any top players that we see are going to explode in value, not just obviously this year, but over the course of their career. You
I'm
know,
sorry to interrupt, but Shohei just mashed one like 25 rows up in right field.
nice. All right, folks. So that's the first player you're going to look at. You're
Yeah.
going to look for Shohei Ohtani.
Hey,
Uh,
I will say I bought Shohei's Red Bowman PSA 10 3 years ago before he uh went off last year. So
yeah. No,
bought
and
a couple of his cards, but I also sold them a little too early too.
a
So
little too early. Yeah. No, I mean, so obviously, folks, you're going to realize that Jake is the more talented investor when it comes to cards. I've more gotten back into the hobby in the past couple of years. I pretty much we both got our collecting bug, I think, probably from our dad. But you've been way more avid. I think. Like, were you always going? Like,
I've
even
been a collect I've been collecting since I was 5 years old, probably.
were there
And it
any
started with
lapses?
Dad bought me the sets
Mm-hmm.
um, for every year I was born. So like he started in 1987, and he had like a Fleer. He bought like the Fleer set baseball,
Mm-hmm.
Fleer, and I believe he bought tops. Um, and he did one for every year until I think like 1993. And then around that time, like I found him and obviously ripped open the sets to find the rookies that I wanted to find.
Yeah.
Um, you know, my dad's like, no, don't do that. You're gonna
Yeah.
devalue it. Well, as we all know, that those sets are not worth much anyway. They're
Yeah.
worth,
Exactly.
you could still buy a sealed set of 1990 tops for $15. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're really not worth much. That's the junk wax era. And then I started collecting. I'd, do all whatever I could do around the house to get a little bit of money. And then I'd ride my bike down to the local card shop, which was MVP Sports Cards in California. Southern California, and I would buy packs or boxes, whatever I could afford. And then it was just so much fun ripping
Oh yeah.
packs and, um, trying to pull something big. And I don't think I really ever pulled anything huge when I was younger.
I was gonna say you don't like. There's not like a card that you remember sticking
There
out.
was, I did pull I did pull a Babe Ruth used jersey
Oh
once
shit.
out of I forgot what product it was, but that was pretty sweet. And the funny thing is, I growing up, I liked the game used jerseys
Mm-hmm.
more than like the autographs or anything like that. I didn't understand the concept of the autographs, but I thought the idea of like a game used bat and a card or a game used
Yes.
jersey was so cool.
Yeah.
And now those cards are like, you know, not even close to the amount that an auto is, or a Bowman Chrome auto or whatever. So
Yeah.
oh, Randone just spit on one too.
Nice.
Oh,
I might have to pump my TV
dude,
on that.
they're crushing Walker Bueller right now.
Uh-oh.
But yeah,
R.I.P.
anyway, guys, if anybody's listening, this is what it's gonna be like. Okay, we're gonna be
We're
we're
gonna be
gonna be all
watching
over the
some
place. We're gonna be
damn.
watching baseball. Just come and hang out with us. For this will be an hour
Yeah.
show. It'll just be hanging out,
Mhm.
discussing not just baseball but football. May even get a little bit into basketball,
Mhm.
hockey. Big hockey fan. big baseball fan, big football fan, and then basketball we're not as much involved, but we do know our stuff about basketball, just probably not as well as the other three sports. So
We dabble
uh,
with John Morant, we
yeah,
dabble with
exactly.
John Morant.
Yeah. Like I know enough to be dangerous on the basketball side, enough to see buying opportunities. And
Yeah.
John Moran at the beginning of the season, I bought a lot of his stuff, which is paying off pretty well right now. um a lot of people bought into Zion. I think
Too early.
Zion, there's still an opportunity there, especially now that his market's way down and people are just totally, have like flipped their perception on what his career can be.
Yeah.
But just a lot of that is being based off of how other big players careers have gone with foot injuries. So I
Mhm.
think he could be that type of player that breaks that mold and actually comes out on the other side of that, and has a positive career. But anyway, that's not here nor there. um, this episode, we are going to be specifically talking about baseball,
Yeah.
because we're excited that the season is coming.
Yeah.
I'm an Angel fan. Matt, for whatever reason, is a Red Sox fan. Who the fuck knows
Dude,
why?
you were there for
You're a
the
Red Sox
literally
fan.
the story I always tell why I'm a Red Sox fan is when we went on your recruiting trip to Northeastern, or the Boston College trip. And we
Yeah.
went, and obviously you can't see it in the background here, but when we saw the Pirates game over the summer, and we sat in center field, it was cold as shit out there. But yeah, that's where the inception of the Red Sox came from. So you were as much of a part of the Red Sox fandom as you think you are. But yeah, I mean, I'm all over the board with my team. So
Yeah, Matt's also a Miami Dolphin fan.
sad but true. Sad but
Remember
true. It's been a
that?
sorry existence so
Yeah.
far as the Dolphins.
Hopefully it gets better here moving forward.
Yeah, no, we're looking up. We're looking up. But
But
yeah,
yeah, today we'll go through that, through some baseball prospects, not only prospects but players that have played in the MLB over the last couple of years, maybe have had like a cup of coffee, but haven't really kind of lived up to either their potential, or we think they have a greater potential than what they've shown so far. And we're going to keep it to players that are under 25 years, and some opportunities to potentially see some increased value in those players' cards moving forward here. So, on the baseball side, obviously you have your Bowman Chrome Auto, which is the king card, first Bowman Chrome Auto. You got your Topps flagship, Topps Chrome, and the different variations within those products, refractor variations, and your colored variations on the Topps flagship side. So um, everything else, there's a lot of products out there. um, Dynasty is a great, really cool product. Triple Threads is a nice product for rookies, and if you want that RPA type card for baseball. But it's not as prevalent as it is in football or basketball for the RPA. So it's in baseball, it's all about that Topps Chrome rookie auto, or that Bowman Chrome, first Bowman Chrome auto. So, or your first Bowman Chrome refractor or paralleled refractors. So those would be the cards that I would, when we're talking about these types of players, focus on trying to grab. If you can't afford a first Bowman auto of a player, a first, even just a first Bowman base, grabbing $100 worth of a first Bowman base card of a particular player. There's a lot of value or growth potential in just, having those cards in your possession if a player really goes off, or has some sort of success greater than what the average MLB player is doing. on that, in that same area, you can also go for a refractor. I mean, Jared Kalenic's refractor last year, when he wasn't doing so well, was going for around $80, 75 to 85. You could still pick that up raw. Um, you know, and if you think about like a Trout, now Trout's you know, a tough player to compare anybody to, but a Trout, he's the best, and a Trout refractor, you know, PSA 10 is going for 6,000, you know, some upwards of $5,000, $6,000. So there's a lot of potential there for growth, even if it's just you get that card graded, or you resell it raw and it goes up, you know, 50,
Yeah.
60 bucks. And you have 5 of them, you know, that's a good chunk of change there. So those are areas you can look to buy cards, that they don't have to be the autographed, you know, top of the line card to make money on this type of stuff. So and again, it's not all about making money either, too. That's the other thing.
100%.
You know, collect what you like, collect the teams that you like, collect the players you like, collect the cards that you like. If there's a lot of really cool looking cards out there that may not be the first Bowman card, but like it looks pretty sweet, you know, and that's what I try and do, is like look at cool cards that I like as well, to put in my collection. There's some really cool looking Bowman Best cards. There's some really cool looking Bowman Heritage cards. Bowman Heritage is has a super clean look. It's pretty much just the picture, and then a like half top border, half bottom border.
Yeah.
Super clean looking. And but you know, a lot of people they won't go for that because they figure, well, if I'm going to spend money, I want to spend money on a first Bowman. Well, the hobby won't always think like that. That's how flippers are going to think.
Yeah.
And flippers won't always be around. You know, they won't always stand the test of time for 50 years. You know, if you're a collector and you're a hobbyist, you know, you're going to have these cards in your possession for a long time. You're not always going to be thinking about flipping them. So, you know, there's two sides to it. And I think where we're coming at it is, you know, we're going to tell you guys that have a lot of value potential to increase in value, and you can do with that what you will. If you want to hold on to those cards, or if you want to, you know, buy now and potentially flip those cards, you know, that's another thing you can do with that information as well. So
Yeah. No, further ado, though,
you
I
have
want
anything to add to it?
collecting. It's definitely, obviously, in the past 2 years, like the industry as a whole is like, obviously you've seen it, I've seen it, like everyone was inside, so like the only thing they could do was buy things and like try to. It was almost like it was the new get rich quick scheme. Was
Right.
like, and then it kind of screwed a lot of people over that like are true collectors, because they inflated the value of a lot of products. So then it kind
Right.
of cornered a lot of people out of being able to purchase that stuff. But obviously, you've kind of seen it taper back down to normal,
Yeah.
affordable prices. But yeah, no, I mean, like you were saying, there's a lot of product out there that just, like you said, it really tailors towards your taste. Like, you don't have like, I may like, a Bowman Heritage over like, Bowman. I would never like it over Bowman Chrome, but point being, like, you may like the like Sapphire. Like I love the top
Right.
Sapphire product. Like I love the
Yeah.
way that stuff looks. Um, or I think Topps Fire is another one.
Yeah, Fire is a cool looking card, and that's a retail product,
Yeah,
you know, and that actually has gotten a lot of kind of like underground notoriety, or support, just in over the past 3 years, I would say, since it's been out. But um, they have some pretty cool cards, like some of the Juan Soto Fire rookie cards, like that
yeah,
are the parallel, like the red, you know, parallel cards are pretty nice.
yeah. No,
Um,
so like that stuff, like I like the way some of that stuff looks, but I've face value. People be like, well, that's not like
right,
investment,
right,
but
and you know, and that's the thing, like what is aesthetically pleasing in the long run, in my opinion, will end up winning out.
Yeah.
So you look at like the 24K cards that came out back in the 90s, late 90s. Fleer Brilliance. That's right.
Okay.
The Fleer Brilliance. And those cards are so freaking sweet looking.
Hmm.
And when they came out, people really liked them, but it was also a new product. It was a new brand. 30 years later, like the Griffey cards and Gemmin are selling for like 30, 25, $30,000. Like,
Yeah.
so you never know what is, just because it's a new product out there. Like the Topps Inception,
Hmm.
like those cards are starting to go off now. They've been around for several years, but they're like the first real like RPA the Topps has come out with, and they have big chunky patches,
Hmm.
and they just kind of weren't this traditional baseball card.
Yeah.
But now people are starting to get drawn towards it because they're realizing that, man, they're pretty sweet looking.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
go for what you think looks good. And eventually other people, if you think it looks good, maybe other people won't, but I guarantee you, like, down the road, they'll be drawn towards good looking,
Hmm.
aesthetically pleasing cards. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
So,
So let's hop right in then. So pitching wise, so I feel like pitchers have the same fault like as a lot of other position players, and like for example in football, right? Like you really want to collect kind of or the quarterbacks, right? But
mhm.
like people do go after obviously receivers and running backs and tight ends and what have you. But pitchers, I feel, have that same problem in the MLB. Whereas, like, unless you're going after a guy like Clayton Kershaw's stuff 5 years in, and now he's had this Hall of Fame career, or Max Scherzer, pitchers are those guys where like you really have to wait their whole entire career to really see their, I guess, value come to fruition, if that makes sense. Because I feel like hitters wise, like
Yeah.
right, the Vlad Guerreros, Trouts, Acuna's, Freddie Freeman's, those guys are going to be obviously putting up the numbers. Who's a guy you see as like someone you'd invest in right now?
Well, with the pitchers, so on the pitcher side, pitchers are weird because we're in a day and age where pitchers aren't utilized the same way they were back in the early 2000s, late 90s, and then
Hmm.
obviously into the 80s, 70s, 60s. They're not workhorses anymore, so you're not going to see only the top 10 pitchers in the
Yeah.
league. And even then, some of those pitchers are even going to be babied, and so you won't see the top pitching numbers that you're
Hmm.
used to seeing back from the guys that pitched in that previous era. So I think that's why you see a devaluation of the pitchers. It's the same as like running back in football. The
Hmm.
running backs, they're not used the same way anymore as they were back in the day. They're not the workhorse.
Yeah.
Like they go running back committee, and there's like maybe 3 or 4 guys that are real workhorses in the NFL, and you see that their careers don't last too long because of that.
Yeah.
So like the longevity of the pitcher has gone down, one, so these guys aren't lasting as long, and then two, it takes a little bit longer, it seems, for the top pitchers to really blossom and like get going. I mean, you're not like, Trevor Rogers last year came in and had a good start, but like a lot of times you're not seeing these guys really take off till like they're 25,
Yeah.
you know, 25, 26. And then by then, let's say you have a 10-year career, you're 36 years old, and you just don't have that 15, 16, 17-year career to put up the type of numbers
Hmm.
that the Hall of Fame pitchers are used to seeing. So that's one. Like that's the first thing. So you're never going to see anybody have any sort of numbers close to what Randy Johnson did ever.
Yeah.
Like it's just not going to happen because that's just where the game has gone in a totally different direction. So which is kind of sad to a certain extent because these guys there are guys out there that do have the ability to put up those types of numbers and be great pitchers, and
Hmm.
if they're given the opportunity to do so. And I don't know if there will be some sort of rule change with the relievers that will allow the guys to go deeper into games and reestablish those dominant starting pitchers the way they were in the past, which I
Yeah.
would like to see. I think those types of rule changes will be good for the game to stop the nickel and diming and usage of, 4 relief pitchers from the, 5 relief pitchers from the 5th inning on.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like that I think is one of the things that I was taken away from the game. With that being said, pitcher right now that I really like, sorry for the
No, you're
right
good.
now, basically we're on a soapbox because it's the first episode, so we got a lot of stuff, to kind of dive into with our philosophies
Yeah.
on certain things and how we think about certain things, at least
Mhm.
me with baseball. So forgive me for
No, you're good.
kind of going into left field on a couple of these different things. But so for the pitcher that I like coming into the season is Hunter Green for the Reds. So he is a pretty incredible talent. He's a big dude. He's about 6'3". He can hit triple digits with his heater. So he's got some really nasty stuff. He's only 22. He had Tommy John surgery in 2019.
Yeah.
So he had Tommy John in 2019. He had so 2020 he was out, and then he came back in 2021 and was hitting triple digits again, and was just lighting up the minor leagues. So I think he in 2021 with between double A and triple A, he had a 3.3 ERA, 31.7% strikeout rate, 8.9% walk rate, and a 43.8% ground ball rate over the life of 106 innings. Which is pretty impressive. So I think that's a guy that I'm really looking to have a huge impact immediately, just not only because he's got all the he's young, he's 22, and he's already made the starting rotation for the Reds, but he has the stuff. He's got that it factor. When you got a triple digit fastball, that's the stuff that you're going to see on ESPN. Hunter Green strikes out, 10 guys, hits 101 miles an hour. And that's the stuff they're going to be featuring because
Yeah.
that's what people like to see. They like to see that crazy it factor when it comes to any sort of sporting event, right? That's why Shohei is like such a big thing because he pitches 100 miles an hour one inning and hits a home run the next. Like I think Hunter Green, he may, he may not break a 4 ERA this year, but he may have like a 4.2. He may win like 10 games as a 22-year-old, and he may, get 160, 170 strikeouts. And I think that would be an incredible year for a 22-year-old as a number 4, number 5 starter. And I just think moving forward, he's eventually going to be a Cy Young candidate. I do believe that if he can stay healthy. Yeah, if he can stay healthy, he will be a Cy Young candidate. And he also, the other cool thing about him is he's 22. He has a chance to have that long career like a Justin Verlander. He has that opportunity to have a 17-year MLB career, which is pretty cool.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. I was looking at mine. I was kind of going over. I'm torn between two, to be honest, and they're both AL East guys. I really like Shane Baz. I mean, I think that kid is going to be shoving. Same thing like as Hunter Green. Like he's going to be shoving for years to come. It's going to be his numbers will show, but it's at least in the AL East, the way the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Yankees have loaded their lineups. There's definitely going to be some games where he gets hit around. But I think for the most part, he's going to do great. But I'm going actually with my guy with the Red Sox, Tanner Hawk. He just pretty much he dabbled a little bit in 2020, but last year he finally he got like 18 games in the MLB, and so this year he's penciled in as one of our starters, and I think he's only 24, 25, I believe. 25, he's a first round draft pick out of college. It's weird. He's not like he's a power pitcher, but not like with throwing gas, right? He's gonna sit at 95, like right around there, 96. But he has a nasty slider throws a sinker and a split finger. So, he's
Mhm.
coming from the right side, and I think because the Red Sox have struggled with having young arms on the team, and Chris Sale going down the previous, last year, 2 years ago, and the rotation getting older, I think he's going to be our next, definitely probably between a 10, 15 winner this year. He might not strike out a lot of guys. I think he probably, if he sniffs 200 strikeouts, that'd be pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
He's more of a ground ball, fly ball guy. But yeah, I think, for years to come, he should be developing into like an ace for the Red Sox. And he's, like I
Definitely.
said, he already
How old is he
dabbled
right now? How old is he?
25.
Oh, he's 25. Okay.
2020, he came up towards the end of the year. We used him as like kind of like he was relief appearances kind of thing. But last year he finally, because of he actually finally got an opportunity to start as being a starter, and he had like a 3.5 ERA, which nowadays, if you have a 3.5 ERA, that's pretty solid. I mean, like you're definitely a top tier pitcher. But I
Yeah.
think this year he has a chance to run it down lower. So I'm excited for him, and I hope. And his value right now is very low on his bone chrome first. Even his
Yeah. I was actually just pulling that up. That's one thing that I forgot to do for
green,
Hunter Green. But yeah, like sold.
like I think only in like the 30-40 buck range, like for his
Yeah.
chrome autos, like raw, like. But yeah, as value wise, I mean, his stuff's low, and I mean,
Yeah. So like I'm looking at it right now. A blue. So he has a rookie
mhm,
card too out because he was a rookie in 2021. So his rookie Bowman Chrome blue auto out of 115 just sold for like $37. Another one sold for 45. So like you could pick up a blue, then that's raw. A
yeah,
blue Tanner Houck auto out of 150 rookie auto for, $40.
yeah,
Um, and that's a nice card.
yeah,
Like Hunter Green. Yeah, Hunter Green is a little bit more.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so like he he's got some graded stuff out there obviously now, but let's see, raw, just base, Bowman Chrome first sold for 150, but he's got some other his stuff's a little bit more expensive, like a blue Bowman Chrome refractor auto BGS 9 out of 150 sold for 380.
mhm,
Yeah, so his gold shimmer sold for $1,500. That was a true gem BGS 9.5. So his stuff is definitely on the pricier side.
yeah,
Hunter Green, he's got another blue refractor, Gem Mint 10 BGS, or that's I'm sorry, Gem Mint PSA sold for 1,099 blue refractor auto. But that's the creme de la creme. So you can, if you wanted to grab just his base Bowman Chrome auto, you could probably pick one up for 150. That looks like, so not bad at all. All right, so catcher, I have a guy that has been in the pros before. He got called up real quick and wasn't very successful. But he was kind of put in a bad position because of a player getting injured, and that is Joey Bart for the San Francisco Giants. So I think he's got a lot of. I think he's had a lot of negative things said about him because he came up when he wasn't ready in 2020. Again, a lot of rookies that came up in that 2020 year were not successful
yeah,
because it was such a weird year. You had, COVID. You had the start of the season in August. None of those guys were able to go to training camp
mhm,
or go to play in the minors leading up to that, and they just got like thrown into the pros. And none of them were ready. Another guy I'll talk about later, was in the same situation. So Joey Bart, he's got a big opportunity to bounce back. I think he will. In the 2020 season, he batted 233. He had 41 strikeouts, only 3 walks, pretty bad. Then he spent last year in the minors, had a better season, and now he's putting together a pretty good spring training. He's batting 412. He's got 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's just looking like he's ready to be that catcher that everybody thought he could be, and that hitter that everybody thought he could be. And his stuff is, last time I looked, it was pretty low, even compared to like what Hunter Green was going for. It's even lower than a pitcher, just because when people give up on a prospect, like they give up hard.
Yeah.
You know, like you gotta. So here's a SGC 10, Gem Mint, and Auto 10 Atomic Refractor, first auto out of 100, sold for $500, which is, a beautiful card, and it's super low numbered. That's the other thing too. It's like those are the types of cards that if he goes off, like that card will be a $1,500 card.
Yeah.
In 3-4 months. Like that card can triple in value very quickly, because those are the types of cards that flippers or collectors, somebody who is a Giants fan will all of a sudden want to have that rare Joey Bart card, and they, just kind of missed the boat because they didn't feel like he wasn't on their radar. He was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this he was good, but he had a bad season. So let's see if he really comes through for us. So anyway, you could see like that card selling for $500. It's got a lot of upside. And you could get just a normal base SGC 10 sold for $200. But if there's a difference of only $300 between that and the low numbered Atomic Refractor, go for that low number all day long if you can. So Matt, what do you got?
Well, I mean, we kind of talked about this last time I saw you, but I mean, Adley Rutschman, I mean, he's been getting just shafted on not being called up to the pros, like, especially with the Orioles roster they have. Like, the only thing, obviously, I think a lot of us know, a lot of collectors know, is his card value is like quite expensive. His Bowman Chrome autos regularly sell in the $800 to $1,200 range, dollar range. That most of them are obviously all graded that are selling. So even if you're going for a raw card, you're still going to be, forking over at least 200 to 400 if you're going auction. But I think obviously he has all the potential in the world. I mean, former first overall pick, a catcher hitting from both sides of the plate.
And Matt, his value has decreased since he first came in, because it's been so long since he's been in the minors. When he first came in, he had like, being a number 1 pick, he had value of like a Dominguez. If he was like, people were buying his stuff, he was super hot, but he's kind of cooled down because he's been in the minors for so long. So like there is still value there.
No, I definitely think there's value with it. It's just, it obviously is a bigger price point because
right. It's not like, it's not like you're going out, you're going to buy $100 card and see it go to $500. You're going to have to shell out a good amount of change to see, a 50% increase on that card.
Yeah. But, and so I guess my angle I would take with it would be for anyone that wants to like go for an Adley Rutschman card. This is kind of what we were talking about in the beginning. There are so many avenues. Maybe you don't go for the first Bowman Chrome, but you go, Topps Chrome, Bowman Heritage. You find another avenue where the price point is a little bit or exceptionally lower than his first Bowman Chrome auto. I think, that's a card to really look at, do your homework and look at, other avenues other than his first Bowman Chrome. Obviously, if you have the money to shell it out, go for it. But I think that would be a fun card. Like I bought I forget what card I bought. I had one of his cards when he was at Oregon State. And I mean, I bought that raw for like $50. Like I ended up selling it for like 100. Like, but like you said, that was 2 years ago when like he was still, piping hot out of the draft. So, but yeah, that's who I have. I'm definitely going to be looking in more avenues of tops Chrome, tops Heritage,
Yeah,
all that stuff for him. So
yeah. I think that's a great player. I love Adley.
yeah,
I just wish the Orioles would just stop trying to be so shitty.
yeah, it
You're like
should.
purposely, you're just like a fucking shitty.
Yeah,
I can't stand it. I live in for those of you who don't know, I live in Maryland actually. So now and yeah, it's a joke of an organization. They haven't cared for so long that now they're trying to care and they just can't get anybody to play for them
yeah,
because of that. It's like, dude, you guys made your bed. Now you have to sleep in it. So
yeah,
and now you still won't call up like Adley and they better have him playing to start the season. And they're talking about not even having Grayson Rodriguez start the season. Like,
yeah.
what is the detriment? Who do you have that is better than Grayson Rodriguez on your staff
Exactly.
right now? Nobody. He would
Nobody.
be. He's your ace. He
Yeah,
legitimately is. Grayson Rodriguez is your ace pitcher right now. He's your best pitcher on your staff.
yeah,
And they're like twiddling their thumbs, like trying to play these fucking games. Like, oh, I don't, he needs some more seasoning. The guy doesn't need any more seasoning. Shut the fuck up,
yeah,
Orioles
yeah,
management. Put him in the fucking game. I'm
yeah.
just like, it's ridiculous.
No, 100%.
And these games that these owners, these ownership and these GMs play at the MLB level is just absolutely fucking absurd, and it pisses
Yeah.
me off.
No, yeah,
So,
I agree.
as
And
far as
moving on.
you're moving on, as far as shortstops,
Ooh, all
oh,
right.
actually, no, let's go third. So I'll just put these two guys together, actually.
Okay.
So, well, third base, I have Bobby Witt, even though he's a shortstop, he's
Mhm.
going to be starting at third base this year
Okay.
because Adalberto Mondesi will be the shortstop,
Mhm.
like because the Royals are smart and they know they have a really good player. Unlike the Orioles, who decided to just let Adley Rutschman simmer in the minors for 2 years.
Yeah.
They know that they have a one in a lifetime talent in Bobby Witt, and
Mhm.
he needs to play right away.
Yeah.
So they're getting him into the lineup. He made the team, and they're getting him in at third base. Eventually, he will move over to shortstop. I don't know when that will happen, maybe in a couple
Mhm.
years. For now, third base, his cards are super high right now, but in my opinion, they're only going to go higher. I
Mhm.
do believe this kid has the chance like to legitimately be a Hall of Fame shortstop. I
Mhm.
think I think he has more star power than Wander Franco. I think he has more potential star power than a Tatis.
Mhm.
The kid is fast. He's a better fielder than Tatis. Maybe not a better. He's probably just as good a fielder as Wander Franco. I think
Mhm.
he's a better hitter. He'll be a better hitter than Franco. Have hit for more power than Franco. He probably has about as much power as Tatis has. He'll probably he'll just he has that star. He
Mhm.
just has star written all over him, and I just think the guy is just going to go through the roof. I think he's going to be the face of baseball moving like maybe in 2 3 years. I think he's going to be the face of baseball. I really do. I just think he's going to be the best player in the next decade.
Mhm.
Um, so I think there's huge potential there if you can afford, I think right now his autos are going like $1,500 raw. There's a mint refractor, 9 refractor for PSA that sold for 2,500,
Mhm.
which is actually a pretty good price. PGS 1010 that sold for 2,500. So that was just a base. So if you could afford, $1,500 for a raw or 2,000 to 2,500 for a graded 10, um, shell out for that because I only see that card going up and up in value. Um, Vice versa, if you can't afford that, again, like we talked about, his Bowman Chrome first card right now is selling for about $35 raw, which I think is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
His refractor is, I think his refractor was selling for about $150 to $200. So still, a good chunk of change, but a place to get some value on him at a lower price point. And then at Adalberto Mondesi, I think his value has a chance to go up because of Bobby Witt being in the lineup. I think he's always had a lot of potential, but I think he's going to be pushed by Witt. So he's my shortstop that I think you're going to see a breakout year from him. He's always had a lot of talent. He's just been hurt. It seems like every single year. He's been in the league for a couple of years now too. So, he's got a lot of he's always been right on the brink of kind of exploding. And I just think, he had that 1 year where he had like 40 stolen bases. He's got a lot of speed. I think this year he could be like a 20-20 guy, steal 20 bases, hit 20 home runs. I think he could end up having a really big year, and you can see the value of his cards go up across the board. So that's another guy I would look to that not a lot of people are looking at right now because he's been around for a little bit and his kind of star power has already begun to fade because of his injuries. So.
Yeah, feel that. I mean, pretty much hopping on that. I have Bobby Witt as well. I had him under my shortstop because obviously he is technically a shortstop, but you already covered that, so I'll hop into two other guys that I like. I have third base. Both these guys are actually third baseman, but I got a Josh Young card. Young card, couple years, I think.
I love Josh Young.
Yeah.
Is it Josh Young?
I think it's pronounced. I call him. Yeah, I think it's pronounced Young, but I just go Jung. I don't know.
I know it makes me want to say Jung.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna say Young, then just put a Y there.
You put a Y in it. There's no such thing as a J that sounds like a Y. All right?
Like, come at me.
Don't come at me and say I need to pronounce that like Young. All right. No, I mean, so I just got his base. I got a base first Bowman Chrome PSA 10 for like $80 or something like that. Maybe around there, like a couple years back. But I mean, right now, so what the Rangers did this offseason, like they just shelled out like almost I think $500 million on just Marcus Semien and Corey Seager alone. And I think for their future, they're gonna need obviously Adrian Beltre goes down as one of the greatest third basemen of all time. But you're gonna want someone that is gonna replace him like that or play up to that potential of that Beltre's, Hank Blaylock's, and Michael Young's of the greatness of their third base, their hot corner. And I think Josh Young comes up and he's batted over 300 at pretty much every single level in the minors. Like the guy just rakes. So I think he's going to come up and he's going to be that honestly the protecting Corey Seager in that 3-hole, and he's going to produce over 280 numbers, 290 numbers in his career, and he's probably going to be a 30 home run guy yearly. Maybe a little less, but I think he's always going to be hitting for average, and he has all the potential because the Rangers are in the same position too, where why keep him in the minor leagues like when he literally has been torching his rookie ball he batted over 500, and then like double A batted over 300, like 308, and then triple A batted like 320. So it's like the kid's obviously ready to make that jump. So I see him and his value. I mean, right now, if you just look at his his autos, at least PSA 10, what's going. I mean, his raw card, first Bowman Chrome, I mean, like pretty much right around 100, 96, 98, 100. But his PSA 10 of that stuff is right in the, you know, 300, 300 range. But I mean, I really think you can't go wrong with this kid. I think he's going to be, a stud for the Rangers for years to come. And then another third baseman that should get his start this year is Spencer Torkelson. I mean, he's another first overall pick. And
They moved him to first base too. So
you think is he moving to first base?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He moved to first base and he won. He did win the starting job, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. Well, then he's gonna be my first baseman.
yeah.
So, my first baseman pick is Spencer Torkelson. The kid absolutely rakes. He hits for power, and I probably will hit for average as well. And Detroit is one of those teams on the opposite end that is actually using their young players and having that mentality of we have nothing to lose at this point. Like we might as well just play these kids and let them grow into themselves. Um, and he's a big boy hitting from the right side of the plate. So I think Torkelson will be a stud this year. I haven't really checked his cards.
They're pretty.
I'd imagine they're probably high.
They're pretty high. Spencer Torkelson he's definitely a pretty popular guy to be buying right now. Josh Jung, I wanted to jump on that too. I agree. I think he has a lot of potential to be probably one of the better hitters that we're going to see at third base. He did get hurt, and he's going to miss most of the 2022 season, which kind of sucks. But it's probably why you're seeing his cards so low right now, and you're going to continue to see them dip over the course of the year. It's a really good opportunity to buy some of his stuff, and it sucks that you won't see him probably make his debut till he's 25. Next year is my guess, and he'll be 25 years old. But like, he has the potential to be like a Pete Alonso, in my opinion, like a Pete Alonso type guy, where not even like a Pete Alonso, like more like a Rafael Devers, where he can hit 30 home runs and bat 280, 290, maybe even. He even has the potential to be like a 300 plus hitter.
Yeah.
He really does. Like, he's got that good of an eye, and he's that patient of a hitter. And he's just like, he just could end up being really, really good. So there's a lot of opportunity there to buy in the next couple months, buy it low, get, a couple of gem mint cards of his for, a couple $100. And, if you wanted to flip him when he debuts next year and he kind of puts on a show, make $300, $400 on his card.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big opportunity there. So, good call, Matt. Second baseman.
Oh, we were talking about this earlier. You texted me the guy, and I was.
Oh yeah. So I got for my second baseman, I got Nick Gonzalez. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nick Gonzalez. A lot of you guys that follow baseball probably are. He's the number one prospect for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's the number one second baseman prospect, and he just came in last year and he lit everything on fire. He's got a 65 hit tool right now, and he's got a 50 power rating. I'm not a big fan of the rating. I think the 65 is correct. He's probably closer to a 70 actually hit tool. I think he's that good. I think he's elite. I think he has the chance to win batting titles in his career as he goes on. He had 18 home runs, batted 302, had a 385 on base percentage, 950 OPS. This was at high A ball last year. He's got to work on his K rate. 101 Ks to 40 walks last year. So he had 101. I'm not sure how many plate appearances that was in. 324 at bats, so almost a third of the time he was striking out. So he's got to work on that a little bit. But once he, that's not uncommon for a young player to strike out that much. So he works on that. He's going to be an elite hitter, and he already is lighting up spring training. So he got invited to spring training. He's still up there with them. Let's see, he was 5 for 11 with 2 doubles, 3 RBIs. He's been raking for them, going oppo a lot of the times, which I like seeing in young hitters. Opposite field really shows a mature approach to hitting, and I think that is a really key thing in seeing hitters' development and who's going to become an elite hitter. They can go opposite field consistently, and that's their approach. So I really like Nick Gonzalez. I think he's going to come up sometime this year, probably around the All-Star break, and I think he's going to end up doing a lot of good stuff for the Pirates. And then I'll just go into my first baseman real quick. Seth Beer is my first baseman slash DH, because the DH came around. He's going to have an opportunity to DH for Arizona and add a little more value there. I think he had a tough year last year when he came up, I believe, but he's been having a pretty good spring training, and he had a good end of the year last year. Right now he's 9 for 19. He's batting .474. Like, he's got a homer, 4 doubles. So he's just on fire right now.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a big chance to do a lot of good things in Arizona. And his cards are relatively cheap. Same with Nick Gonzalez is I think his stuff is kind of middle of the road, because he is a well-known prospect. Seth Beer is a little older and has been around for a couple years, so his stuff has kind of settled down a little bit. So good opportunity to grab his stuff and sell when he has a breakthrough, a couple of months here to begin the season.
Second baseman for me, it's going to be tough for him to break into he's had a rough spring training so far, but he hasn't really gotten that many opportunities. But Nolan Gorman, St. Louis Cardinals. So he's listed as a second baseman and a third baseman, but we all know that he's not. No one's overtaken Nolan Arenado from his third base spot. So his battle really is with Tommy Edman. And Tommy Edman slashes a pretty good line as a hitter. He's pretty solid, hits for average around the 270s. Where I think Gorman's going to help himself, he's got to show off his power. I mean, for a lefty, he's going to be going up against another lefty in Edman, but his value right now in cards is it's relatively affordable. I mean, he's right. His PSA stuff is right in that 200, 250, 300 range. So you probably want to go for one of his raw cards. I think, like Gonzalez, I think he has more potential probably getting called up mid-year, maybe, depending on how the season, starts unfolding for the Cardinals. But I mean, he slashes good numbers in the minors. I mean, since he's been in the minors for the past three seasons, he's always right around 280. But I think the pop in his bat, if he can find more consistency with the pop, I think there's a lot of potential. But it is like I said, it's a crowded infield for St. Louis. I'm excited to finish it off with the outfielders, because there's some pretty solid outfielders, I feel, that are going to be coming up this year, either younger guys or young guys that have had MLB experience that could blow up.
So I'll go through that real quick, because I did check out Seth Beer. His stuff, he doesn't have a true first Bowman chrome auto, but he like one that says like first on it, because I think they skipped his year that he was drafted, but technically what would be his first Bowman auto is selling for like a purple raw just sold for $84.
Okay.
So a lot of opportunity there. As far as my outfield, um, I picked 5 guys, and I'll just go through them. I'll list them off real quick. Joe Adell, Josh Lowe, Riley Green, who I won't even get into that much. He fractured his foot.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be out for probably the first couple months of the season, is my guess. But Riley Green really doesn't need any introduction. Everybody knows what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Alec Thomas and Jared Kelenic. So Joe Adell, I'll start with him. Joe Adell is my PC guy. So I collect a lot of Joe Adell. And I have a lot of belief in him. I think he's going to have a breakthrough year this year. He kind of followed the same line that Joey Bart did back in 2020, had a really tough start to his career, got, no opportunity to hit past single A or no double A, and then just got thrown into the pros, and he just wasn't ready for it, and so he struggled. And then he got called up last year, and he did much better before he got hurt. So he kind of started a little slow, and then I think in the back end of the season before he got hurt, he was batting like 280, 290. Starting to hit for average, was hitting for power. He had like a big grand slam to win a game against the Detroit Tigers, and one of the games against one of the top closers. It was throwing, 98, 99 miles an hour. He smoked the pitch. The dude just has unbelievable power. If you've ever seen this guy hit a home run, he's got as much power as the biggest power hitter in the league right now. I would say you could put him up against Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, and he's got just as much power as those guys do, which is crazy when he connects. And he's got a lot of speed. He's a decent defender. He's gotten a lot better in the field. And I just think, they sent down, or they optioned. Help me out, Matt. Who did they option? Upton. They optioned Upton.
Upton. Yeah.
So they opened it up for him to basically be a starter this year, and I think he's gonna have a great year. I can really see him actually contending for a Silver Slugger, being a 30 home run guy, possible 90 to 100 RBI guy this year. I think he's got that much potential, and I think that if he does that, the Angels are making the playoffs, and I just think it could be a really, really good year for Joe Adell. So we'll leave it at that. Josh Lowe, he's the brother of is it Brandon Lowe?
Brandon Lowe, yeah.
Yeah. This dude also has a ton of power, very under the radar. He's 24 years old, plays for Tampa Bay, has a lot of speed. Everybody's saying he could be a 2020 guy. His Bowman Chrome cards aren't doing anything because nobody knows. He's just kind of like this guy that's just kind of floating under everybody's radar. But he's going to be called up this year at some point, and he's going to make a dent in that Tampa Bay lineup where they're going to need some sort of spark. And he's going to be that guy this year. He's just like they have every single year. Tampa Bay finds that, young player to come up and give them that jolt in the arm out of nowhere and pushes them to the number one in the division. He's going to be that guy this year. So, look for his stuff to spike up. once he comes in and does what he can do. Riley Green, we all know I think he's going to be a top 5 guy moving forward once he starts playing. Alec Thomas, I think this kid has a chance to be one of the better all-around players, center fielders. I think he could be a guy that hits 25, 30 home runs, steals 30 bags, hits 315. I think he may not hit 30. He could be a guy that hits 15, 20 home runs, but he's batting 315, 320. He's that good of a hitter. Like, he has the ability to be a low 300 hitter to mid 300 hitter. I just think he's got a lot of potential. He's just super, super athletic.
Is he is Thomas I remember you telling me about, is he at spring training right now?
He just got sent back down. He didn't have the best spring training. He was bad. He was at spring training, but he was only batting 222. So he's only 21 years old. They're gonna let him probably start the year off in AAA, but he should be up if he does, like, I think last year he batted like 350 in AAA, something like crazy like that. So he'll be back up probably around All-Star break is my guess, to come in, and depending on how Arizona's doing, I guess. And then Jared Kelenic, I think he's gonna figure it out this year. We all know his potential. He came up last year. He had the same struggles that Joe Adell had when he came up. I mean, you could see it's a pretty common thing for these guys, especially nowadays, to struggle when they make that jump from AA, AAA to the pros. It's so much different now than it was. We talked about the pitchers not being the same. The managers not managing the pitchers the same way. I think it makes it actually harder it makes it harder on the hitters, because they have to see 5 guys in a game. They don't get to see that one pitcher 3-4 times like the guys back in the day used to. They used to get to see that starter for a third at bat when that guy's tired, sometimes even a fourth at bat. Now they got to go through that pitcher. They get to see him 2 times. Then they see 2 middle relievers. Then they see a setup guy and a closer, and every single one of those guys can throw 95 to 98 miles an hour. So
it's like
that's the adjustment these young guys have to make when they come up. And, that's why you see the players struggle to make that adjustment initially, because they have to be so locked in. Like, they have to really study the game and know the pitchers, and really be a student of the game to be successful when they make it up to the MLB level. And it takes a little bit of adjusting. So I think Kelenic is figuring it out. He's not having a great spring, but I'm not that worried about it. I think he will figure it out. I think he'll be a high 200 hitter. I think he'll hit for probably 30 home runs, maybe 35 home runs, and come close to 100 RBIs. And I think he's going to be a great player moving forward. And cash in on, a lot of the people that kind of are writing him off after last year. Even though the people that are writing him off, he still hit like 13, 14 home runs last year. Only playing in like 60 games. So that's pretty freaking impressive. And everybody's saying that he struggled. It's like, dude, the kid was 21 years old, playing in 60 games, and he hit 13 home runs. Like, he played pretty freaking good.
100%. So actually we had similar, Riley Green and Alec Thomas. So I'm gonna go with two different guys. One's a vet, and I know you're big on his PC, but I'm gonna start with the other one, Dylan Carlson. I've told you I really love this guy. I mean, he has a sweet swing just from the left side, and it seems like it's the most like smooth, nonchalant, but like when he cranks home runs, like he has that great pop. Obviously, like you've been saying, the 2020 season kind of did not look good for him at all. But last year he rebounded, 18 dingers for I think right around a 265, 270 average. Um, I
Yeah,
think
he won
he's
the Rookie of the Year last year.
sees how much wasn't paying attention to baseball that much last year. Then,
No, you're
um,
good. You're good. I'm just letting you know that he I'm honestly, if you look at the stats, like you wouldn't think that that would have won NL Rookie of the Year though. Like a
yeah,
260, 18 home runs. You know, I mean that's a mediocre year,
no,
really.
100%.
So
But I mean, if you look at his cards are actually relatively, like good prices. I mean, they're low hundreds. I mean, you can get a first Bowman Chrome Auto raw for right around 100,
yeah,
$120. So, I mean, there's really good value in his cards right now.
he he's
Obviously,
he's
what's
got a
that?
lot more potential in him than a 266 batting average. The dude could be a
Oh,
300. He could be challenging for batting titles.
Oh, 100%. And it's like he's only 23 years old and like the flashes that he was showing and the potential he was showing in the minors. Obviously he was stealing a lot of bases when he was younger, but I think he might have a similar, and I'm not comparing him to Trout, but how Trout was hitting home runs and stealing bases when he was younger in the MLB, but now he's kind of gotten away from stealing bases. I think you could probably see that same kind of transition, and I think it's also due in part to hitters now are becoming more swinging for the fences. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they see the wear and tear of how Trout has missed what I probably two years from sliding and breaking his thumb on bases. So I think younger players are taking note of that, and they're probably not going to take as many risks stealing bases. So I think Carlson is obviously a stud. He's obviously has his roster spot. So I think that's going to be a fun guy to watch. I think good investment. And then your big guy, I think he's going to have a big rebound year. Ronald Acuna. I mean,
Ronald Acuna. Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
why wouldn't you invest in this guy's card? You know what I mean? Like it
yeah.
seems like he's one of those no-brainer guys like where you look at him and you go, yeah, like I would invest in his cards and just hold them. Injury last year was really a freak kind of like jump and tear. So I think,
Yeah, I agree.
seeing him hit in the batting cages in spring training, I was like, oh man,
Here's something crazy for you. Like right now, his Bowman Chrome firsts are selling for about the same as what Bobby Witts are selling for. And
yeah,
Bobby Witt hasn't done anything yet.
exactly.
Now, I think that Bobby Witt is going to be just as good as Ronald Acuna,
Mhm.
but it doesn't warrant his card selling for the same amount as Acuna's.
Yeah.
Like
And
Acuna, you could right now buy his green refractor Bowman Chrome first auto BGS 95 sold for $6,000. That's out of 99. His purple refractor BGS 95 sold for $4,800. His raw Bowman Chrome first, just base auto sold for $1,800. If you got 2 grand, go out and buy this guy's first Chrome auto.
yeah, and like that's the thing. It's like I mean, if you are into that flipping kind of business, I mean, you 2 grand. I mean, it's once he gets back on the field, the value is just I mean, like it's hit a little plateau of like because of his injury, but I mean, it's only going to skyrocket back up when he starts putting up his all-star numbers again.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, he's now that Freddie Freeman's gone. I mean, now it's almost like it's kind of his team now. I mean, he's going to be the next guy to kind of break the bank. They're going to have to pay. I mean, they'd be stupid to let him go.
Yeah.
Um,
And if you wanted like a deal on him, like his prospect same prospect year, 2017, as his Bowman Chrome first auto. The Bowman's Best, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a really nice looking card. It's got a nice design on it. You could pick up just a base auto for $225 raw.
Mm-hmm.
You could pick up a green variation right now, just sold raw for $500. It's crazy. Like, there's some really beautiful cards out there that you can own of these guys as prospects for super cheap. This same card, if it was Mike Trout, his prospect, like some of his prospect cards, now he didn't have the amount of prospect cards that existed today for certain guys, but like he did have other prospect cards besides his first Bowman, and he did have prospect auto cards too outside of his first Bowman, like Bowman Sterling auto, and those go for thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why you like this Bowman's Best card, Ronald Acuna Bowman's Best, couldn't do the same thing 10 years from now.
Exactly.
10 years from now, there's no reason why this card shouldn't be selling for $10,000, like the green refractor auto that sold for $512. I could see that card easily selling for $10,000-$15,000.
Yeah,
10 years from now. So, if you want to buy something and hold it, he's the guy to do that.
Yeah, no, agreed. So, you have any other guys on your list that you're?
No, sir. No, sir. We just went over by about 45 minutes. That's all.
All right, that's the glory of editing. We can edit.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, guys? This is Matt here. Thanks for watching the episode. If you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe. We're going to be coming out with episodes every single week. So just stay tuned for that stuff. And we appreciate you listening. Thanks.